And for a solution on how to resolve the federal government ASUU standoff, Professor Chinwe Obaji, former Minister of Education, joins me now. She was the first female Minister of Education in Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us on the news tonight, madam.
Thank you.
Great. Let me begin by asking you, when you were Minister of Education between 2005 and 2006, we also had industrial action, but they barely lasted days. Given the power of hindsight, when you look at this current industrial action that has happened for the first time under the Tinubu administration, what mistakes would you say have occurred that shouldn't have, with the power of hindsight that you have? What are we doing wrongly?
Yeah, thank you very much. Talking about ASUU strike, ASUU problem with the federal government. Let me say this. Most times when they go on strike, we think that ASUU is fighting government. There is no way ASUU can fight government because both ASUU and government are partners. They have to work together for our process of national development. We cannot talk about national development without ASUU, because ASUU comes from where? The universities. And it is the research work that come out from the universities that help to shape our national development, our national policy. Is it in our economic policies, social policies? Look at even during the time of apartheid. And then Nigeria was talking about supporting, helping South Africa to fight apartheid. Where did they get the likes of Bolaji Akinyemi and Professor George Obiozo? The likes of them, they came from the universities. And they helped to formulate policies that helped Nigeria to fight apartheid in South Africa. We are now, we are mourning Professor Joy Ogwo today. Where did she come from to go to the United Nations? She came from the universities, and she did very well. When we have problem with food production in this country, Professor Adesina, where did he come from? From the university, to help shape, to help us in production of more food in this country. And I can go on and on. Look at even Professor Charles Soludo. Where did he come from to become the economic advisor to Mr. President Olusegun Obasanjo? They came from the university. So the university and the federal government will have to find a way to do what? To see how to move this country forward. I've listened to issues of ASUU, most of their problems. If it is not about their remuneration, it is about their unpaid allowance. It is this, it is this. Yes, any worker deserves his pay. But then, in these their grievances, have they mentioned about the students? If you go around most of our universities today, like what we are seeing all over the place, look at their living conditions. I'm sure you have seen some of the hostels, what they look like. Are there not issues that our professors in the universities should also talk about? Each time they go on strike, who suffers? It is the students, it is the parents. We have listened today to what the students are saying. They are the shortcut of the whole problem. I tell you this, I remember in those days, during the Aborishade strike, one of my daughters was in one of the universities. They went on this strike, and that strike lasted for about 6 months. During that time, because she was born in the United States of America, she traveled to the United States of America. She came back, and the semester lasted only 2 weeks. She asked me, Mom, whom am I going to compete with when I graduate? They are teaching us nothing. How can a semester last only 2 weeks? This was a 16-year-old girl. She was now in her second year in this Nigerian university. And she said, Mom, I'm not going to continue in this university. And I said, we are going to miss 2 years. She said, Mom, I don't mind missing 5 years as long as I do not continue in this university. They are teaching us nothing. So from a ramshackled business center in Owerri, she registered for SAT, took it in about 4 places on the 6th of June, 2003, and got her result within 7 days. Yes. She was admitted in one of the universities in the United States of America.
Okay.
Penn State University.
Obaji.
And no, let me finish.
Very quickly.
She now ended up doing her engineering in 3 years and 4 months. Came out with a first class and graduated before her mates who remained in Nigeria. That is what the Nigerian children are suffering each time we go on strike. Now, the federal government has a position. ASUU has a position. And then we are looking for a solution. We try to meet them midway, and that will be the solution as far as I'm concerned. Okay. You see, you can't solve the problem of ASUU and federal government without people who are really involved on both eyes.
When you say people that are really involved, what exactly does that mean? You know, you paint a very heartbreaking picture, citing your daughter's example, but it is even more disheartening that many years after, over a decade after, we're still talking about the same situation. Children are having to spend more years than they require to study in the university. So in solving this problem, how do we solve it? Because looking at the list of ASUU, we still have a 2009 agreement as one of their conditions. You wonder why it is so difficult for both sides to finally agree and trash all of these issues. So the solution, Professor Obaji, how do we actually do this?
Okay, the solution, yeah, I agree. The solution, you see, when you look at the pattern of ASUU agreement, in 2000 there was this 2001 agreement that came just 2 years before the 2003 election. Then there was this 2009 agreement that also came 2 years before the 2011 election. Now we are not talking about 2025, which is 2 years to 2027 election. And you are asking about the solution. My sister, the solution is very simple. We have had people who have been in ASUU. After leaving ASUU, they came to government and worked. They have been on the side of ASUU. They've been on the side of government. People like Professor Jega. The first time I ever heard about Professor Jega was with ASUU. Professor Jega from ASUU became the Vice Chancellor of the university in Kano. That was in 2005. And he did well there and eventually became who? The chairman of INEC. We have had people like Reverend Bishop, Reverend Asadu. He was ASUU, and then he ended up becoming the Vice Chancellor of a university. We have had people like Professor Bogoro, people like Professor Awachie, who were there ASUU people, ended up working for government. They understand ASUU, they understand government. All right. Why don't we call them to come and solve this problem?
Great.
They've been on both sides, and they can solve this problem.
In a very nice place to live in, including yourself, Professor Obaji. I mean, it would be nice to have you because you have worked as the Minister of Education as well. You understand this issue. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on this very heartbreaking development in the education sector at this time on the news tonight. Professor Chinwe Obaji is the former Minister of Education in Nigeria, discussing the standoff between the federal government and the striking university lecturers.